Hello students, welcome to Biology Reward and I am Om Prakash Kakre. Today we are discussing the Biology class 12th topic, chapter number 5, and today we are discussing regarding terminology of principles of inheritance and variations. Students, terminology is the very important part to understand the other concept of this chapter. So for this one, specific word which are given in the book that we have to understand properly, and then that will be easy to us to understand this chapter number 5 of NCERT book. First important part terms is genetics. Genetics is a branch of science which deals the two things. It deals the study of heredity and variation. Students, first if you see that while we are alike with our parents, somewhere we are having the similarities with our parents, and this similarity is due to the heredity. So heredity is what? The heredity is the transmission of the traits or character from one generation to other generation. It means that if we are similar with our parents, it means some characters of our parents inherited to us. So thus the characteristics of the one generation, it passes toward the other generation, so it is called the heredity. So we can define what is genetics. Genetic is the branch of science which deals the study of heredity and variation. Heredity is the transmission of character, transmission of trait. We can use the word traits or characteristics. So transmission of character, passing of character from one generation to next generation is called the heredity. Another word is variation. Sometimes we observe that the children are differ than its parent. They do not show the similarities. It means they show the variations as compared to their parent. So this study of the variation, study of the differences, study of the changes in the trait, it is called the variation. So thus we are having the two important topics, heredity and variation. So study of the heredity and variation, it is deal by the back, that is called the genetics. In this one, first one part is given by the Gregor Mendel. It was factor, and at present now it is called the gene. So question arises that what is factor or what is gene? So factor is a unit which determines the trait of the organism. This gene is a basic unit. We are using the factor word or the gene at present. So factor is a unit which determines the trait of the offspring. So any organism is having the any traits, if they are heighted or they are dark or they are having the different skin color. So this type of characteristics of organism, this is determined. Earlier it was called the factor, now it is called the gene. And simply we are saying gene is structural and functional unit of the heredity. So what is factor? It is unit which help to determine the traits of the organism. Traits, it is characteristic of organism, are determined by the factor. Another, as I told you, gene. What is gene? It is determining unit. It is structural and functional unit of the heredity. This gene is having the alternative form. So alternative form of the gene is called the allele. Suppose I am writing A is the one gene, A is the one gene, And for the gene A, there are the alternative form of this same gene. So for gene A, there are alternative form. I am writing A1 is the one alternative form. A2 is another alternative form. So these alternative forms of the gene are called the alleles. So what do you mean by alleles or allelomorph? It is the alternative form of the same gene. So gene is a A and there are alternative form of the gene and it is called the alleles or allelomorph. So alternative form of the gene is called the alleloform. I have mentioned here capital T. This is one allele. I have mentioned small t. This is also one allele. So these are the alternative forms of the gene. Capital A is indicate one allele and small t is also indicate the another allele. If this member of alleles are same, if there you will see this allele is having capital T and capital T. Both alleles here, they are having same alleles. You can see allele is small t and small t. There also we have the both alleles are the same. So if both the alleles are the same in organism, it is called homozygous condition. So homozygous condition or homozygous means what? The alleles are having similar. Member of the alleles are same, that is called the homozygous. If you will see another, here you will see the organism capital T is the one allele and small t is another allele. So one allele is capital T, another allele is small t. So in any organism, if alleles are differ, this is called heterozygous. Heterozygous condition. So homozygous, they have similar alleles and heterozygous is having the different allele. If I am writing capital T, this is so the homozygous. If I am writing small t, it is also homozygous condition. But if I am writing capital T and small t, and it indicates the heterozygous because here alleles are differ. So if two alleles are here and they are differ, that is called heterozygous. If alleles are same, that is called the homozygous. So capital T is homozygous condition and small t is also homozygous, whereas capital T and small t, it is the heterozygous condition. Another important topic, the term is after the homozygous heterozygous, genotype and phenotype. First we are seeing, if you will see any of the plant or any animals, then the external characteristic, morphological characteristic, physical characteristic of the organism is called the phenotype. Suppose I am saying color, shape, okay. So these are the phenotypic. So if anybody is having the long hair, that is also phenotypic characteristic. Anyone is having the short hair, that is also phenotype. So if you will see the object, then how they look like. What is the, suppose I am saying red flower. So if I am saying the red flower, so red is the phenotypic character because the flowers look the red. If I am saying the white, then it is the white flower. White color is a phenotypic character. If I am having the round seed, so round seed will be the phenotypic character. So phenotypic character, it means the characters, external character or morphological characters. Another is that the whatever character is exhibited physically, that is called the phenotype character. But what is actual genetic constitution? What is the actual genetic makeup of the organism? It is called genotype. Suppose I am writing the phenotypic character, this tall plant. Tall plant is a phenotypic character. This tall plant Why the plants are tall? Because here I am indicating the two alleles, capital T, capital T. So these two alleles, this is genetic constitution of the tall plant. So genotype of the tall plant will be capital T, capital T. And capital T, the phenotype for the plant is tall plant. Similarly, if I am writing the short plant or dark plant, so dark plant is phenotypic character. And for dark plant, I am writing the characteristic small t, small t. So small t is a genetic constitution or genetic makeup of an organism. So genetic makeup of an organism is genotype, and external feature of the organism, it is called the phenotype. So thus genotype is genetic makeup and phenotype is a external characteristic of the organism. If I am saying the round seed will be phenotypic character. Shrink seed, phenotypic character. But if I am saying the for shrink seed, the characteristic is genotype if small or smaller, so that will be genotypic constitution. Another, in representation of the genotype, always remember this genotype is represented by capital alphabet and small alphabet. So small alphabet either A to Z or small a to Z. So for presentation of the genotype characteristics, we are using capital letter A to Z or small letter A to Z. So this alphabet of this are used to represent the genotype. Now after the genotype and phenotype, gene, as I told you, unit of determine the character, which is also known as factor. Gene present on the specific position on the chromosome. So when the genes present on the specific position on the chromosome, so the position of the gene is called gene locus. Gene locus is the position of the gene. And all the genotype of organisms, how many organisms are present in the population, so total number of their genotype, it is called the gene pool. Gene pool is all the genotype of all organisms present in that population. Another is total sets of the genes. Total sets of the genes in haploid chromosome, and this is called the genome. Genome is total set of genes in haploid chromosome. Sometimes you will see some characteristics are appear in the F1 generation or first filial generation or in hybrid. Suppose I am crossing the tall plant with the dwarf plant. So when tall plant and dwarf plants are crossed, so in next generation in hybrid we are getting the tall plant. We are getting the tall plants only. So that genes are alleles. I am indicating this is the phenotype character, tall plant and dwarf plant. For tall plant, suppose I am taking capital T, capital T. So dwarf plants I am taking small t, small t. So F1 progeny, out of 2 alleles, 1 will come, and out of 2 alleles, 1 will come. So 1 allele capital T and 1 allele is small t. So this is the hybrid. So in hybrid what happens? This allele capital T is called the dominant allele. Capital is called the dominant allele. So what do you mean by dominant allele? Dominant alleles means the allele expressed in the hybrid. Capital T dominant allele because it expressed in the hybrid. But those do not express in the hybrid, so this allele is called the recessive allele. It is hidden in the hybrid. So allele which is hidden in the hybrid, it is called recessive alleles. So you have to see the small t is present in the hybrid, but it do not express. It do not show the dark characteristic. Only in hybrid the tall characteristic is appear. Plant is a tall. It means the small t allele small t is not expressed. So it is hidden in the hybrid. So this allele is called the recessive allele. So two types of alleles are occur. Either dominant alleles they express in hybrid, or recessive allele they do not express in the hybrid. But these type of alleles will express in the other generation. Another dominant character. If you will see tall plant and dwarf plant when they are crossed, then we are getting tall plant. So tall character is expressed. So dominant character is tall. Trait expressed in the hybrid. So the trait which expressed in the hybrid is the dominant character. Allele is called the dominant allele. Character is called the dominant character. Similarly, those characters do not appear in the hybrid. In F1 generation especially, first generation hybrid, these are called recessive character. Here recessive character are not expressed, it means they are hidden or they are suppressed. So here dominant allele expressed in the hybrid, recessive alleles do not express in the hybrid. Dominant character which expressed in the hybrid, it is called dominant character. Suppose tall and dark cross, the tall is expressed, it means tall is a dominant character. If I am taking the round seed, and this round seed is crossed with the wrinkle seed. So in wrinkle seed and round seed are crossed. So suppose in F1 generation, our generation comes the round seed. So round is a dominant character. And recessive character will be wrinked. And wrinkle character is recessive because it do not express in the F1 generation. So these are the specific terms which we have to understand in this chapter.